in a good many modern schools.
It's alright, it's okay. Doesn't really matter if you're old and gray. It's alright, I say it's okay. Listen to what I say. It's alright, doing fine. Doesn't really matter if the sun don't shine. It's alright, I say it's okay. We're getting to the end of the day. I take a look, take your pick. 'Cause you can't teach no dog a brand new trick. I don't care.
Rob Smith here. It's September 2nd, 2025. All right. There's kitties. I'm sorry, that should have been pointing there. Hello, say the kitties. Just came across a bag that I have for doing the live improvs. I had not realized I'd rather buried it. That's Dennis Waterman with a new Tricks theme tune. And I actually don't have my page up for some reason. Oh, I see it. I'm in the wrong place. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong. I've got two channels. I've got this one in Swampy's Florida. Swampy's Florida. I only add happy whatever day to every day in the blog, the YouTube blog or whatever you want to call it. I am always adding something, but here I need to add some artwork here to the blog part of this. Let me just go find my live. Why can't I find my live? Because I'm in the other one. I'm in the other place. I'm still not finding it. Hold on. Where's mine? Let me go to my channel. Sorry. Wasn't paying attention. Not always right on top here. But there's very few people who ever come in initially. So usually later. Thank everybody who's subscribing. I'm not getting a lot of subscribers, but I can't complain either. Okay, enough of Kitty saying hello. This is something I used all the time for my lives all last year. Okay, I'm going to put this away down the Swanee River. And I'm going to try to work out. Well, I'm going to go ahead and ink. I think that's more important. Work on this other stuff all the time, but I need the oh here, this is over here. Okay, so I'm still inking this. You can see that blue dot line thing, don't you? Oh, I know why that is. That's because this light's not. It's over here pointing at something else. Oh, give me a moment. Oh, hold on. Fell down. Oh, sorry, that didn't good. That's not good. Hold on a second. All right. Oh, boy. All right, sorry, a little calamity there. I meant to go live much earlier, but I'm trying to find something. I did a bunch of digging. I can't find it. And I want to get started before it gets more difficult to do this. And again, I'm not announcing these things. I'm just doing it. I need to move this a little over here and then over there. And there we go. And I can ink with more. Oh, my sinus have been going nuts today. You heard when you started, if you heard somebody talking, that was Bertrand Russell. A little lighter on that, Mr. Smith. Where's that coming from? Weird sounds. Oh. Surprise! Yeah, those earlier voices when I started was Bertrand Russell. I'd come across a video of the great philosopher. Actually, disagree with him about a lot, but I greatly admire. What a great man. This interview from Facebook here, Manufacturing Intellect. It's an interesting thought. Hold it. I need the picture of Dougal. Where's my picture of Dougal? Oh boy, hold on a second. I need to get him. I'll make sure I keep consistency here. Yeah, that's a good idea. Google. Bertrand Russell was a great philosopher who lived, born 1872, died 1971 or so. Something like that. He started off thinking one way, but as he went on, his views changed, and then they changed again. He wrote a slew of books. Would you believe philosophy used to be something people used to buy by the carload? But now, good luck selling any of it. If it's a video game, moron will buy it, but idea of thinking, critical thinking, not something people want to do. The general public, as is. I would be very interested to hear what Russell thinks of today's society and how some of his views that did come to fruition caused some of the problems we're having today. He was despite him leaning more what would be called the left, he was an early proponent of basically what we now know as homeschooling. In fact, he started his own school, him and his wife, because he was just flustered with how he couldn't get to public school, who was caught in bureaucracy, much as we see today. Wow, how things have not changed. He started the school in 1920s through the 30s. And there's a whole long thing about that. Russell was British, I should say. He's probably most known for giving anti-war protests at Trafalgar Square in the UK in the late 60s. He was in his 90s at that point. But he was kind of being led astray by an assistant who had views. And, when you get older, you don't want to get older. Being led astray by an assistant. That's happened. I'm a big fan of Groucho Marx. Something similar happened with his wife, Erin Fleming, who basically also got Groucho doing some things he would otherwise not have done, but he really wasn't quite in tune with what he was doing. And Groucho was only in his 80s. But as we get older, our capacity to exist fades, and others can kind of take over. At one time, I had pretty much all the books Russell had come out with, which are some 80 or 90. I don't have those anymore. Some of them I really disagreed with. One was called Conquest of Happiness. It's just a bunch of nonsense, basically of relativism. I think that book came out in around 1940 or so. I think he was more on target in the latter part of the 19th century, that is. And in the early 1900s. I think as he really was trying to contend with the reality of society and how it kind of goes off on its own, whatever you may do, seeing how his worth of things, his value was not quite what society was willing to take on. But he sold tons of books, put out tons of treaties of his views. Very well known, very popular. But his views were not necessarily go very far. I think one of the things that hurt Russell was that he was not consistent in a sense, but you don't have to be consistent if you're a philosopher. Philosophy is, as with science, science is a search for facts. It is not facts. If it's a fact, it's no longer science. And philosophy is a search for wisdom. But if you believe that you have it is a solid fact, it's no longer philosophy. But those are things, those are fascinating subjects. I'm sorry, I'm not even looking. Where do I have this live someplace? Where do we go? I'm going to look at this. Oh, here we go. Oh, Andrea Kaczynski. Hello, Andrea. There's Chi. There's White. I'm not sure how to say Chi. That's right. We're talking about Chi Rodriguez. Yes, Andrea. I was just playing Bertrand Russell. His views of faith were all over the place, too. And as happens for most as they get older, they embrace faith, though they might be against it initially. Not necessarily against it. But he had his problems. And there was, Robert Ingersoll was someone he he worked with, and then finally we suddenly found that he was not agreeing with Mr. Ingersoll, and problems ensued. But as Russell, I was just playing a little video I found on YouTube, stumbled upon. In fact, you mentioned the great change of life from just since World War II to the point of this video, which was 1952. And that's really you lose the ability to think when you mechanize things, and they were having that problem in the 50s. It's much worse, but I mean, it's almost inconceivable. What he says is inconceivable, going from 1914 to 1952, from 1952 to now, is beyond that even. Machinery should only aid, should not be thinking for us, ever. It's our job to think, our job to, we can weigh and consider ideas, but you shouldn't be looking things up on a computer and having it tell you what you think you're supposed to know. It's up to you to learn and explore, find out. I don't know if I'm doing fine. I've been looking for something. I can't find it. Looking for that. Looking for a notebook of checks, and I found my bag for all these lives I used to do all the time. I found my Word box, which I had a few months ago, but the work got in the way. This is Angus, an Irishman. I'll make sure I look like this. Looks a bit tattered and torn. I've actually made Swampy. When I scan this in, I'm going to have to make this one smaller. I made him way too big in comparison to Swampy. That was a big boo-boo. But that's not going to be hard to do. This is page 14. I did not finish 12 to 13. I need to sit and kind of work on the map I did. There. This is a boring page, and I admit it. I need to establish some things. And good conversation with you last evening, Andrea, or last night. I've actually condensed some as I was looking for the check notebooks. Kind of consolidated some things I have. My goal is to get this done. Woo, that light is not. Get this done by the end of the week. Artwork wise, there's everything else still to do. And thank all that come by. If you get a chance to click the thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. A lot of them last night. I really appreciate that. If you want, you can subscribe. It's up to you. I believe in free will. There's something Mr. Russell and I agree with. In a little different way, but and I could be wrong. A lot of people have trouble saying those words these days. Not me. That's a little confusing. Should have made those color. I gray those. Where do you see bunnies? Oh, down on here. Yep, down. I didn't have them names. Which is odd. And all characters involving Swampy's Florida, except for Angus. I don't think there's an Angus, Florida. Maybe I should look. Angus cattle. Yep. Got some not far from me right now. Make some fine burgers. And you can buy them. You can buy those Angus cattle. They're for sale. Baldwin, the Baldwin family. Old Florida family. A big billboard on US 75. Have had one for decades and decades and decades. A lot of stupid people from out of state probably see that and say, oh, you just put that up to this. Make sure I get that up here. Cattle are very important to the economy of Florida. We're still number 2 or number 9 in the nation for cattle production. Don't want that to go away. Very important. All the people who move here can go away right now. Sooner the better. I don't know if Andrea's still here or not. I was talking to my friend Kathy, who lives out in the forest. I hadn't heard from her. She's one of my older friends. I guess you could say she's elderly. She's in her 80s. I was trying to reach her a few weeks ago and didn't hear back. So I called and called, and finally she called me back today. Said she's been sick. She's out. She lives out in the Ocala National Forest, and folks can get lost out there. I mean, I don't mean they get. Yes, you can get lost in the forest, but I mean if you are living out there and you have only your neighbors may know you, and everyone outside doesn't know where you are, you get lost in life these days. We had a good talk. She's updating me things about Silver Spring State Park and what's been happening there. Well, I've done something here. Made these bunnies way too big. My goal is to draw every day. I'm really going to try to get this done by the end of this month. The whole thing, if I can. We'll see. But talking to Kathy, I probably, if Andrea was still here, I probably will make that trip to Daytona Beach on Sunday. So if Chi-Chi White wants to come in here and break into the house and steal all the art supplies, he can, because I won't be here. I don't know if White's a he or she. But either way, there you are. I'm just giving, or Andrea for that matter. Andrea could pretend to meet with me, but actually be casing the joint right now, figuring out how to get in here. Then I go Sunday while she's really breaking in here and stealing. She's stealing this pencil right here. This Blackfeet Indian pencil. I know you all want it, but it's mine. But you have free will. You can do what you want. I don't have this place secure as I should. I should have a guard, about 7, 8 guards out front. All right, so I made them really big. Okay, so dummy. Always want to make sure you get your foreground background set. And I went a little. When I penciled this, I wasn't paying attention. I did some dummy things. So I'm going to give it a little distance here. See if I can get to save myself from this. And I kind of make it a little confusing as to just where everybody is. Thank you for mentioning those bunnies. Oh, here's Joanne Castro. Well, I've been drawing professionally for 46 years. I better be doing something right. Professionally, too, being paid. I've been drawing since I was knee-high to a flea. But this is just a way to try to get me to draw more. I'm getting away. I got away from it for last 5 months. Forcing my hand. It's not something I naturally just want to do or feel strongly about. It's something I can do. What I feel strongly is getting Florida history out. And that's what really motivates me to get this done. And I was talking to my friend Kathy about that today. Because she's the one who brought it up. She knows that's what my intent is. Learn about gopher tortoises. Learn about manatee. Learn about 1600s Florida. Just learn and appreciate our incredible history of our great state of Florida. New sub. New sub. I want a sub. I haven't been to Gabriel's. Well, I was at Gabriel's 2 weeks ago. Probably next week or the week after. We'll see. I want to get this done. And I'm going to go live because going live, I commit myself, and it gets embarrassing if I keep saying this. And Joanne Castro and Chi Chi White and Andrea Kaczynski see I don't get it done. Then I should be embarrassed, ashamed, and put myself in a corner with a big dunce hat on. You betcha. Now I need this. These are ones I need to work on some pencils. I mean, I could fake it probably, but I'm going to mess up and I'll be upset with myself. Just need to work on. I did this. I did the lettering of limerick. This is. I could finish this part. And there's the thing that's going to take longer for me is I'm going to want to put like pages of history on this one just here. And no, I have to keep it simple. Can't get too detailed. And that's difficult. Because basically this character Angus goes from Limerick, Ireland to Dungarvan, Ireland to the shores of Florida. It wasn't known as Florida at the time. Now, how he gets there is another thing entirely. I was telling my 80-something-year-old friend, Kathy, about this. She's a fellow native, fellow cracker. And she hasn't seen any of this yet. She hasn't even seen my Gopher Tours book yet. She needs to do. I guess I should be promoting my books, and I don't do that. That's because I'm a rotten capitalist. There are people who want to think making money is very important, and then there's me. I'm taking tips. A drawing or you have a tip jar somewhere. I'm supposed to carry some things I'm doing in the next few weeks. I'm supposed to. I don't like tip jar. I don't want to see money. Leave me alone. Someone could pay me outright, but I don't like that tip stuff. Mostly because it's embarrassing. And what I do is I've been doing it a long time, and someone puts 50 cents or a dime, and that's never a dime usually, but still, it's just insulting. It's just people are uncouth today. Actually, the water would come in here. Water would be coming in. No YouTuber. I didn't make any announcements, and I'm not. This is I meant to do this live back 4 hours ago, but I was looking for something. Spent time doing that. Can't find it somewhere. I see. I'm gonna have to come in here and make this live. Anyway, no YouTube. I like to say names. I've been entertaining crowds for 46 years, and it helps me remember who's who and what's what. There's a number of folks coming. And it's important to have the name. If it's just some weird moniker, I'm not. There's some guy. I mean, I'm right now trying to remember one that doesn't use their name. There's a dinosaur guy. He was here yesterday. Can't remember his name, but if it's I can't remember that fake name. Real names I'll remember. I'm used to talking to folks. So he's actually going to go from there's a map coming from this is downtown. Oh, I could finish this. What was the pen I was using? Oh, this is it. Nah, this is a different pen. I think. Oh, I see what I was using. I was using this one. Oh, I was going to put another person in. Well, I'm not going to now. Covered it up. My problem's not to get too detailed with these. That's not easy. My training's comic books. I'm a Kubert School person, but I haven't done a lot with it over the decades. Done some comics. I'm one of those who refuse to work with certain people, like DC and Marvel. Would never do anything for the Disney military industrial complex. I've never liked them since I was little. Never. I was glad recently was a bunch of folks didn't like them anymore. Now they seem to have gone back to liking them. They're evil, evil. Yes, I could probably be very wealthy if I'd done that, but as I say, I'm not a money guy. And I've only really gotten back into using the YouTube thing almost daily now. In the past week, I was just doing weekly things on Sunday nights. Then but that's because I was working at the time. I'm not. I've stepped away from my working time, and this is all I'm working on, pretty much. Hold on, I need to find this picture of the city I was using. That's a good idea. Always use reference if you can. Even though I'll make things, if you see one of my live videos where I do improv, I'll just make it up as I go. So I'm very good at doing that, and I know that. But if you do something like this, Limerick in the 1600s, if you can find some reference, please use it. Don't try to make it up. It really comes across. This is what Limerick looked like at the time. Much of these buildings still stand today. Today. A little thicker. Okay, where's the picture of it? Yes, use references. Good idea. Oh, is that white? I don't know how to. Are you a boy or a girl? I don't know what CHE is, except the first name moniker of a really bad guy involving Cuba. For some reason, people think it was a good guy, but he was not. He was a very, very, very bad guy. Where is I am looking for your locations. Is it in here? Where's that bridge? Is this it? No. That's, I don't know what the hell that is. Get out of here. Here it is. Here's obviously my reference. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, this is a picture of. I'm using a reference from the 1700s, but it has to be early. So it's. I'm guessing not all this was here, say around 1672, 70. Well, this would have to happen if Angus left. We don't know when. What year? Angus got out of Ireland as he was chased. So, but it was before, prior to that. I was like, kick the dates a little bit. I'm keeping it a little nebulous because at the time here in Florida, there was just, it was a mess. The Spanish conquistadors were a complete disaster. Could not get their act together except to kill anyone and everyone who did not bow to the crown, speak Spanish, and we're Catholic. And most they asked everyone this in Spanish language, which of course no one here spoke. So they just killed them. It was a lot easier. Just get rid of the riffraff. So that that those kind of evil beasts here, and the French involving the Huguenots, what was left of them, and then you had the English who were trying to get their act together and couldn't really quite make the commitment to really take over Florida or the United States, but they're still trying to play because they were still involved with the U.S. in the colonies north of what we now call Florida. So you had those elements, and then you had the various Indians. This is pre-Seminole. So you had all these various, what was left of the Calusa, because the Spanish killed them all, just like they did in South America. Massive murders. I mean, this evil, the worst evil beast in Western Hemisphere history were the Spanish conquistadors. But so what's left of the Calusa, what's left of the Tequesta, what's left of the eyes are wandering around. So those are all elements I'm playing with, and then I get a fantasy element in there too, which I don't like, but I'm doing it just to see if I can get the kiddie crowd in here at all. All right, now I'm looking at this. I'm wondering what the heck was I? I can't quite make out what I was doing. Ooh, all right, it's not like watch some historian from Limerick come here. Why did you draw that? I agree. If I don't do it right, tell me. I'm trying to be accurate. But of course, this is Limerick, not Florida. But that's to be explored later. If I do more of these books, I'm prepared to do more than just this one. This one doesn't have much in the way of fantasy in it. The next one would. Fairies, dragons, and that's where all my watercolor pictures come from. And I'll be working. I need to get onto some watercolor pictures this week. I don't have to. I might wait till next week. Like the Camp Helen sea monster. And then there's these kind of things. Little fairies. I don't have the ones that are in plastic. I gotta get these all in plastic. That's right. I'll probably work on this the rest of the week, and then I'll work on all the rest of dragons. Where are the dragons? Oh, there's one. I got those. Lots of things. All right, see you later, Castro. All right, so now I want to get this across. So here I'm going to involving Castro and others. I'll probably be back tomorrow. I really want to get back in here earlier than this. But I just want to make sure also I'm drawing every day. That's going to be tough on Sunday if I go to this comic book convention. But I'll see some friends and an idea what it'd be like to maybe set up if I do more of this sort of thing. We'll see. All right, bye-bye. Hey, you don't have to stay. I thank you for being here at all. Please check if you want to check the thumbs up. Thank you. I'll just keep calling him her Chi because I don't know what else to do. usually a different pin here. I don't remember what. And this is all going to be covered up with a box, a text box. But I'm not I'm not really looking for an audience. I just need to get work done. It's a sense of, this is kind of an accountability issue, actually. What time is it? It's 5:29. How long have I been on here? 40 minutes. I probably put way too much detail here, but now the problem here is that this is going to, oh, I got back here. Oh, that reads. Oh, wow, I wasn't. Am I not even there? Where am I? Oh, I think I'm falling behind here. Oh, wow, am I behind? All right. Oh, there goes a kitty. Having a slug of frosty root beer, which, by the way, I pretty much only drink during these lives. Otherwise, it's water and some seltzer. I don't know if this reads well. It would work much better in color. But, well, let me see. Maybe I will try to go ahead and get some map part done, too. You can go away. Get you still around. Plus, I got more pictures here. Give me a second. Yeah, I've got a map here. All right, so I want to get to Tipperary. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way. Whoa, whoa, whoa. in there and clean that up a little bit. And just down here, actually, some mountains areas. Well, we can make over that with a brush because that doesn't stand out at all like that. All right. Well, I hope that works. You know, it does bother me a bit. Yeah, that does help, but doesn't it? If I could come in here with some shadows, right there. And I'll just go ahead and just make it dark and forget it. Because you can't really tell what's going on here unless you do that. Oh, my inky gets back to more like it used to be. I know it's still not there, but it's getting in range, I think. Now there's this, so this is much more. First of all, I get the Dungarvan part. Back to the brush. Again, I think anyone who watches, for whatever reason they watch, I might check my spelling. A friend of mine lives on a road named Dungarvan. But his is with, I think, V-I-N, not V-A-N. That's what's catching me here. Okay, so I need to make sure these two connect. All right, that's running out of ink. It's no good. all I know, Dungarvan wasn't much in the way of buildings at all, but they were a struggling seaport in the late 1600s. I still on the, yeah, completely redrawing this than not what I had originally. I know it's even thicker. Does. Yeah, I will finish page 12 and 13. That would be awfully nice. I'm considering putting black back behind here, but I may do that digitally as compared to doing it here. Not sure yet. Let's see how this brush is doing. What's this? I'm basically asking folks to read from left to right here. I'm sorry, from right to left. Understand where Dungarvan, starting at Limerick and going to Dungarvan. And then here. This will be. Yeah, these two pages will have a lot of black on it. Well, not that much. Look at that. All those bricks. Oh, looks like did I slow down again? It says I'm still live. Oh, it's just not showing that because it's up here. Yeah, I've just been adding in some brick stuff here. I don't think anyone's here. I'm now marking an hour. Wow. helps a lot, though, doesn't it? There are really no streets at the time, so I can't really show streets. And I know it's a little confusing, but hopefully it'll sell it. So the story will win out here. Kind of do this the same. Uh-oh. I messed up there, but This is the trickiest page to ink. The rest are all pretty easy, but this one's the tough one. As I'm trying to do a map, trying to cover so much area. I have no idea what the hell that is. Oh, I was going to draw it so you see his head, and he was awake, and then he got knocked on the head, and he goes dark, but I'm kind of doing it this way. I don't know if that works or not. And there's some mountains up here someplace. All right, if I finish the ship, I'll be done. Find a picture of the ship, though. Let me put Russell on here.
That I know.
Did you change any of your opinions in that regard?
Yes.
Well, I suppose to some degree. I tried running a school of my own because I wasn't satisfied with our school. I haven't the talents of an administrator, and I wasn't satisfied with the school that I tried to run. Fortunately, at just about that time, a certain modern school that I was interested in became, I thought, quite good enough, and I was satisfied with that.
Summerhill is the name of that school.
My opinions, not only about education, but about a good many things. As a result of seeing the kind of
Having some frosty.
various things that people do, I think that freedom is not the panacea for all things. I think there are a good many matters in which freedom should be restrained. Some of them things in which it's not sufficiently restrained at present. In the relations between nations, there ought to be less freedom than there is, I think. And to some degree this applies in modern education too. I think that some progressive schools certainly have more freedom than we ought to have. There are some freedoms that I think are desirable in education. Now, in the old-fashioned school, if a child uses a swear word, it's thought worse than if he commits an unkind action. And that seems to be absurd. Clearly the unkind action matters more. And in that sort of way, I don't like the old-fashioned way. I also think that children should be free to explore the facts of life to a degree that they're brought up in an old-fashioned way. I think there should be free speech. There are a number of things that I like very much about modern education. But both in education and in other matters, I think that freedom must have very definite limitations where you come to things that are definitely harmful to other people or things that prevent you yourself from being useful, such as lack of knowledge. So that there are those respects in which I suppose I should lay less stress on freedom than in former times.
Do you still believe in the importance of abstract philosophy?
Well, now that's a very difficult question. I have myself a passion for clarity and exactness and sharp outlines. For some reason that I've never understood, this makes people think that I have no passions, that I'm a cold fish. I don't know why, but it does cause people to think that. I don't myself think that's altogether just. That's neither here nor there. But I do like clarity and exact thinking, and I believe that's very important to mankind, because when you allow yourself to think inexactly, your prejudices, your bias, your self-interest comes in ways you don't notice. And you do bad things without knowing what you're doing them. Self-deception is very easy. So that I do think clear thinking immensely important. But I don't think philosophy in the old-fashioned sense is quite the thing the world needs nowadays. The needs of the world are different from that.
Well, just what you feel today's needs are.
Well, of course, the needs depend on what a person's capacities are. But if I were now, this moment, a young man, whether in England or in America, I should not take to philosophy. I think there were other things better to take to. If I had the necessary capacity, I think I would be a physicist. If my capacities didn't run in that direction, I should think that history, psychology, mass psychology especially, theory of politics, things of that sort are much better worth working at than pure philosophy. And it's that sort of thing that I should take to if I were now young.
Lord Russell, what do you think the world needs to reach a happier state?
Well, I think there are three things that are needed if the world is to adapt itself to the Industrial Revolution. The troubles we are suffering now are essentially troubles due to adapting ourselves to a new phase of human life, namely the industrial phase. And I think three things are necessary if people are to live happily in the industrial phase. One of these is world government. The second is an approximate economic equality between different parts of the world. And the third
Oh, is he an idiot
a
about
nearly
this?
stationary population. I'd like to say a little about each of those. As to world government, the world government should be, of course, a federal government, leaving a very great deal of freedom to the individual national government, and only those things controlled by the world government which are absolutely necessary for the avoidance of war. The most important and most difficult of these is armed forces. All the important weapons of war will have to be in the hands of the international government below. When that happens, war will become practically impossible. And if war were impossible, mankind could go ahead. If war is not impossible, every advance in scientific technique means an advance in mass murder and is therefore undesirable. But if once world peace
He
achieved,
didn't understand what had just occurred in World War II.
now I come on to the question of approximate economic equality. As things stand at present, Western Europe, and still more the United States of America, have a high standard of life. On the whole, the great majority of mankind live fairly comfortably from a material point of view. Asia, on the other hand, lives in very, very great poverty. So does most of Africa. And the moment people are sufficiently educated to be aware of these facts, the inevitable result is a great development of envy in the poorer parts of the world. That envy is a cause of unrest, and inevitably makes world peace precarious.
Thus, he explains the civil rights problem.
Use approximate economic equality. Of course, it's a long story. But it can be.
All right, I could have done that better, but it'll
The
have to
third
do.
point about population is very vital indeed. The food supply of the world tends at present to diminish through denudation of soil. It tends, of course, also to increase through various technical advances. But those two are back balanced, so that on the whole, food produce of the world does not increase appreciably. Now that means that unless everybody is to be very poor, especially if you have economic equality, unless everybody is to be very poor, there must be not more people to be fed, not many more than there are now. And therefore you've got to get approximate economic equality, approximate equality of population, and approximately station.
Well, I guess I've finished those 2 pages. I just got to erase
Those
some
parts
sort
of
of.
the population increases fast. We want to go to war with those very frequently slowly.
That brings us precisely to the problem of Asia and what part Asia will play in the immediate future.
Well,
No, you're busy.
Asia,
Oh, Asia.
first of all, has risen to the point of education, some Asians, where it is not prepared any longer to be subservient to the white men. It hasn't noticed that Russians are white. If it had, it would take a different line. But it seems to think Russians are yellow or black or some other color. And I think our propaganda ought to be mainly devoted to saying only Russians also are white. I believe that would be the effective propaganda for English. But I pass that point by. Asia clearly is going to claim equality with the white men. And it's perfectly futile, absolutely futile, for the white men to resist that claim. It will infallibly win, infallibly. And we ought, therefore, to concede it graciously at once, or we're driven to it, concede complete equality to Asia. But if Asia is not to overwhelm the rest of the world with a vast land population and poverty, Asia must live up to its responsibility and must learn the sort of things we have learned from the West, which is how to maintain a roughly stationary population. And if they can't learn that, which I fully believe they can learn, and learn quickly, much more quickly than most people do, if they can't learn that, they will not have won their claim to equality.
Lord Russell, speaking as of today, can you see the influence of any one philosopher more than any other?
Well, I suppose in recent years the most important influence has been Marx. If you can dignify him with the name of philosopher, I should hardly like to dignify him so myself. But I suppose he must count in the list. And he certainly has had more influence than anybody else.
For those of us who reject Marx, can you offer any positive philosophy to help us toward a more hopeful future?
Well, that. You see, I think one of the troubles of the world has been the habit of dogmatically believing something or other. And I think all these matters are full of doubt, and the rational man will not be too sure that he's right. I think that we ought always to entertain our opinions with some measure of doubt. I shouldn't wish people dogmatically to believe any philosophy, not even mine. Not even mine. No, I think that we should accept our philosophies with a measure of doubt. What I do think is this, that if a philosophy is to bring happiness, it should be inspired by kindly feeling. Now, Marx is not inspired by kindly feeling. Marx pretended that he wanted the happiness of the proletariat. What he really wanted was the unhappiness of the bourgeois. And it was because of that negative element, because of that hate element, that his philosophy produced disaster. Philosophy which is to do good must be one inspired by kindly feeling, not by unkindly feeling.
Coming up, Lord Russell, do you feel that there is hope for the world today?
Well, I do. I feel it very strongly, but how far that is really a rational conviction, how far it's temperamental, I can't say. But I do most strongly feel that there is hope. There may be very dreadful times ahead of us. I dare say there are. But I still believe, I believe most firmly, that through whatever pain and suffering, mankind will emerge from these dreadful things and will emerge into some world that will be happier than any world that has existed in the past. I'm firmly persuaded of that. What I don't know is how long it will take.
Guys, if you suffer from neuropathy,
Wow, man.
How do you do, Lord Ruffle? Won't you sit down? Now, what are we going to talk about?
Well, Lord Russell, as you approach your 80th birthday, I think we'd like you to tell us what you think you have learned and what you think you will never learn in your career as a philosopher.
Well, there are some things that I don't think I shall ever learn, and that indeed I hope I shall never learn. I don't wish to learn to change my hopes for the world. I'm prepared to change my beliefs about the state of the world, about what happens.
42,000.
Noel Coward isn't the popular idea of a great dramatist. He's far too debonair, well-heeled, suntanned, far too alive. And for nearly 6 decades, he's been shamelessly, defiantly showbiz. From his early days as a boy actor, he was one of the first Slightleys in Peter Pan, to his appearance this year in the Burton's film boom, he has been of the theatre theatrical. You don't expect a pair of Congreve to pose for photographs in silk dressing gowns, to play cabaret in Las Vegas and drink tea in the Nevada desert. You don't expect him to turn up in other men's creations, acting King Magnus in Shaw's Apple Cart, the insanely furtive spy master in Graham Greene's Our Man in Havana. Yet from the beginning, his best work has come from that show business life. His first great success, The Vortex, was written, he freely admits, to give himself a fat part as the drug-taking Nicky. His first classic comedy, Hay Fever, rose out of a weekend of theatrical tantrums and parlor games with the American actress Laurette Taylor and her family. Private Lives was written for Gertrude Lawrence. Designed for living as a vehicle for himself and his friends, the Lunts. From the seedy backstage wrangling of red peppers to the old actor's home of waiting in the wings, the theatre has been his soil from which he drew strength. Cavalcade seemed more the sort of thing great dramatists should attempt. He depicted the heroism of Britain's plain folk in his film In Which We Serve, the love of ordinary suburban people in Brief Encounter. Yet somehow these seemed romantic, almost as nostalgic as the operetta world of Bittersweet. It's curious how often Coward's hymns to traditional British virtue share with his operettas plots about not marrying actresses. Diana Wynyard in Cavalcade tries to separate her son from a music hall singer. Gladys Cooper in Relative Values, 20 years later, rescues her son from a film star. It's almost as if Coward saw in the theatre a threat to the reality of that traditional, class-conscious England he loves to imagine. So, in Present Laughter, he appeared almost in his own person, begging an aristocratic Mrs. Worthington to keep her daughter off the stage. But Present Laughter recalls another play, another actor-dramatist who put himself, his friends and colleagues on the stage in an impromptu at Versailles. Molière belonged to show business too, and from its mocking, artificial world also made comedies which have outlived the world of the Sun King. It's taken a new generation of actor-playwrights, Harold Pinter and John Osborne, to tell us that they and we have a master in Noel Coward. A master who knows that what lasts in drama isn't high seriousness or great ideas, but the energy that's released when you turn loose two actors to battle with wit and passion in that cage behind the footlights, as they do in the last act of The Vortex.
Mr. Cloud, the last scene of The Vortex, that very dramatic scene between the mother and her son, is played on a very high level of intensity. And yet, I wouldn't consider that it was typical of what one normally thinks of as a Noel Coward play.
Well, typical is a dangerous word, you know, because what I suppose is considered typical of Noel Coward play is a lot of witty remarks. But I have written others, so to say, less typical plays, such as Peace in Our Time and Cavalcade, which were not blazing with epigrams. I enjoyed writing The Vortex, and I, of course, very much enjoyed playing it. It was a wonderful part. But whether it's typical or not, I don't know.
It has been often compared in its impact to something like Look Back in Anger was in modern times.
It made an enormous effect, I remember. And of course it was also done by my colleague William Shakespeare in Hamlet.
Was there any special reason what made you choose that particular theme of the relationship between a son and mother, as in the Hamlet references you said, and above all a son who takes drugs?
Well, the two were mixed up. I put in the drugs to make it more difficult. But originally, and I had a great friend who had rather a flighty mother, and I was with him at a nightclub. And there she was with a young man, and the other people in our party at the nightclub started to laugh at her. And I thought how awful for him. I once went over and kissed her and said, "Hello, how are you, dear," etc., etc. And so they shut up. But it was a very bad moment. And I thought, how dreadful of a mother to put her son in such a position.
Do many of your plays spring from that? From something, some specific detail that you've observed?
Yes, I suppose they do. I can't remember them offhand. But I think generally I get one quick vision of a scene and build backwards and forwards from that.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Was it your intention to
Snip.
make people look seriously at these moral problems?
Sorry, I
I
was
don't think that,
erasing some pencil off these 2 pages.
Really, I had any of those.
That's Noel Coward in the background.
I thought
This is also from
what a
YouTube.
good idea to write a very good play with a whacking good part for myself.
Has this always been your central inspiration?
Sort of, yes. Except when I'm not in the play, that's different. Then I must say, I have thought of writing some written good parts for other people as well, so I wasn't entirely selfish.
How are you,
But you
Snick?
see, the
You're still here.
Vortex
I'm not sure when that was written. I'm sorry, I've been away there for.
by every management, and they were anxious to do it on condition that I didn't play it.
That was before.
So I'm an hour and a half now.
They all said they'd do it as long as I didn't appear in it. And so I thought, well, I'll fix for that. And finally, I went to the Everyman Theatre with Mr. McDermott. And
I knew this
then
these
he
2
said,
pages were going to take a while.
So I borrowed 250 quid from Michael Allen, who also had his troubles earlier. So that's how the Vortex appeared at the Everyman.
I believe you had some difficulty in getting the Vortex passed by the Lord Chamberlain.
Oh, right up until the
Hey, it's
The day
wow,
of
it's 6:20.
What
Where's
were the objections?
That it was immoral. Then I persuaded him with the most ghastly sophistry that it was a tremendous moral tract, which in a way it was. It upset a certain middle class moral sense, I think.
And the middle classes are always the basic theatre goers. I think that's it.
Fortunately, it turned out to be they flopped to it. It was lovely.
Didn't you come from, in fact, a very different social background yourself from the characters in your plays?
Yes, perfectly ordinary suburban middle class background. My mother's family were all connected with the Navy, a great deal. But of course we hadn't got very much money, so it was sort of genteel poverty we lived in originally.
And you always lived in London?
Yes, I was born in Terrington, and then we moved to Sutton, Surrey, and then I came to London when I was 8, yes.
Were your mother or father interested in the theatre?
I think I'm going to stop right now, and I'll come back in just a bit.
Adored it. My mother used to take me to musical comedies on my birthday treats.